Welcome, everyone. This brand new edition of 5-Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host Albert Sita. If you are watching us on YouTube, we are split screen again due to a scheduling conflict. We are doing this episode remote. We had to get it in. Albert, we don't want to get 2 weeks in a row without a show, so we're trying to get back on a consistent level now that there's no more MLB playoffs. The basketball season is kind of in full swing now. NFL is halfway through, so now there's no more excuses, no more distractions other than Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. But Albert, how you doing, man? How was your Halloween?
My Halloween was actually pretty cool. I spent it at Disneyland. I didn't go trick-or-treating, but I got back home in time, which at least I thought it was enough time for the trick-or-treaters. I had no trick-or-treaters. I had maybe 3-4 kids show up. So I have a bag of chocolate. I'm tempted to eat the whole thing. And I don't know if it has to do with what's going on in the world or what, but I just didn't have that much trick-or-treaters this year.
You know, I was having this discussion too. I really do think it's because there's so much. There's the local community centers or churches have the trunk or treat. There's Disneyland. There's all these community events where people can go to trick or treat. And I think maybe the days of literally knocking on a stranger's door asking for candy might be over because with all these events going on the day of or the weekend of Halloween, that families are maybe kind of tuck it out before the night of. So
yeah, in all honesty, it's whatever's the safer route. I'm fine with. So
there you go. Your father.
Hey, you want some? If you want some chocolate, I can bring some over when we meet up.
We'll do it, yeah. But we can make sure before we do on this chocolate, we got to make sure we get our Foxhound Fuel in.
There we go.
To get that pump in and get that workout in. That way, we can indulge in our chocolate because our workouts are so great and so fueled with Foxhound Fuel. So go to foxhoundfuel.com. Get either 1, 2, or all 3 of their workout powders. They have a ready natural pre-workout. You drink it before warm-up and drills. Get sharp, focused, and hydrated during training. No jitteries, clean energy, and recovery enhancements are so needed. They also have a during workout hydration, natural hydration formula. You drink that during training, strength and conditioning, and sparring. It replenishes yourself to dig deep and sustain energy during those lighter rounds. Again, it does its job. It's quenching your thirst. If you get tired of water, you get the hydration formula on there too. It's great taste and flavor. It's coconut and mango. And when you're all done with that, you get your Recover Natural post-workout. You drink it after training to refuel, hydrate, and prepare for the next day. So go to foxhoundfuel.com, enter promo code 5MMA for 25% off your order. And also a big thank you to Wildbar, the protein bar for wild energy. It's natural ingredients, hemp-infused, nutrition-dense bars. It's more than a protein bar. They got 3 good flavors: hemp hearts and cherry, hemp hearts and blueberry, and hemp hearts and pineapple. Go to wildbar.co, enter promo code 5RoundMMA15 for 15% off your order. If you have an active lifestyle, if you just want that snack, mid-morning snack, before workout snack, after workout snack, Wild Bar will do the job and get you filled up. It's good, clean nutrition. Again, Wild Bar, Foxhound Fuel, pair them up. You're going to see the results, and then you can be like Albert 9 and indulge in all the chocolate you want. Look at that. Albert's flexing. You guys are missing on YouTube. Go to YouTube now. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in this week. A lot to talk about here. We're going to play sell or no sell. We're also going to play over-under for MMA. So I guess, Albert, we should explain sell or no sell before we kind of get started here. So what does it mean to sell in professional wrestling, Albert?
It means that you are not only making it believable what's happening in the ring, people are essentially considering it, quote unquote, real.
Right. And to no sell means
you make it look as fake as possible and so non-believable that you're probably going to get fired.
Yeah. So basically, when Albert or I say we're selling something, it means we agree with it. If we're not selling, nope, I'm not going to sell this. I don't agree with it. This is, I'm gonna sandbag my opponent here. Don't agree with it. So I know some similar games they play a buy or sell. I'm selling it. I'm buying it. So if you're selling, you're agreeing. If you're not selling, you're disagreeing here. So Albert, let's get started with round number 1. We're going to play sell or no sell. This is again going to cover various dirt sheet topics. on the world of professional wrestling that we can't really spend a whole round on each one, but we want to talk about it really quick on it. So the first topic for sell or no sell, Ring of Honor, man. They released their entire roster of their contractual obligations. All their entire roster is free agents. From reports now saying they're millions of dollars in debt due to them actually paying their wrestlers during the pandemic. They weren't running shows, weren't running TV. They continue to pay their talent. So good on Ring of Honor for doing that. But because of that, they're forced to kind of have a weekly television production show and also even continue to pay the roster on a regular basis. So they released everybody. Reports now saying that Ring of Honor is going to run like a super indie promotion a la PWG and Game Changer Wrestling, where they're just going to bring in the top talent from everywhere around the world and just have a show once a month. So, Albert, sell or no sell, Ring of Honor becoming a super indie promotion like PWG and Game Changer Wrestling? Is this a good formula for them until maybe they get back on their feet?
I'm going to sell. I think in the landscape of pro wrestling right now, it's not a bad thing to call yourself an indie promotion.
Super indie.
Even that. Right now, the talent pool is very hot, a little bit too deep. I mean, I have never seen the wrestling talent pool this deep. I mean, you can get some bangers in the indie circuit right now, and it's just ridiculous the matchups you can make in the indie circuit. So I can see them surviving in that route, buying their time until they can figure things out financially and also what makes sense, because Ring of Honor has always, I felt, had the short end of the stick when it came to wrestling in general, just because every star that you see on WWE, AEW, they were Ring of Honor first, and they were big time in Ring of Honor. It's just that, I have always been a big believer that Ring of Honor needs to hire a media guy like me and you, Alex, and actually produce that show, because they can have all the talent in the world, which they've had. They still, leading up to the release, they have some bangers in there, bro. They got some killers in that roster, but the production value that whenever I check out Ring of Honor, it always gives me that indie feel, and it never gives me like a good clean and I'm not saying just because of their cameras. Like, obviously, WWE has probably one of the best cameras out there because their association with Fox and everything. So I'm not
even invest in a good stage setup.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of stuff I feel Ring of Honor could have cleaned up, make look better to really put themselves in the same level as Impact. And they had the roster to compete with players like Impact. I just feel like their media never got it. They always had the talent, just never the media. So when it comes to the indie circuit, sadly, all that matters is the talent. It's not necessarily the production value or whatever. It's just putting out as much good matches as you can, making sure the crowd is hot and people are on the seats.
Yeah, from what I heard, the rumors going around that they're keeping their library, their tape library. They're not selling that. That they're going to go with this indie promotion. Super indie formula for the future. It's worked for PWG. Look what has done for PWG, which essentially was, Albert, Ring of Honor West Coast, right? It was all the guys who were wrestling 100%. On Ring of Honor East Coast. That was PWG was their West Coast tour, because Ring of Honor never went west of the Mississippi. Mm-hmm. So in order to see these guys, it was for PWG, which is what it was. So it'd be kind of cool to see Ring of Honor still there. Everybody who's anybody wrestling in Ring of Honor, they have a history that's about as rich as any wrestling promotion that's ever been out there. Their tape library is worth a lot of money, but I think they're holding on to it. So I'm selling on this as well. I think that it will work for them, and hopefully they kind of stay in business. And if you guys are on the East Coast, man, you got to support Ring of Honor now, because we can't have another promotion go out there. It's another format for these wrestlers to get paid, and it's another opportunity for this organization to keep afloat. So best of luck to Ring of Honor and their new game plan to become a super indie promotion. So, Albert, topic number 2. You remember Cain Velasquez, right?
100%. One of my favorite fighters of all time.
Former UFC heavyweight champion and part-time luchador, professional wrestler, however you want to put it.
A good luchador, by the way.
Yeah, he did an interview recently making the rounds, and he was asked, like, hey, what happened to WWE? And your match with Brock Lesnar wasn't as great as it was. He basically said, here, timer is 5 minutes already. So when we said that, he said, I was injured. My knee's still kind of messed up, but hey, I tried my best. I still want to try wrestling. I'm not going to have any surgery. I'm just going to wear a brace and kind of push through it. And they asked him, what happened to how come they released you? You're believable. And he said just straight up, they didn't use me. They were going to use me. They didn't use me. They never called me. And then all of a sudden, during that latest round last year, the COVID cuts, he was part of it. That was it. So, sell or no sell, Cain Velasquez ever return to the WWE again?
I'm a seller.
And was it a mistake?
I'm a seller big time. I think Cain Velasquez is an incredible talent, a credible athlete. He's in the same level as Kurt Angle. He caught wrestling like that. I mean, he understood it, the psychology of it, the athleticism of it. He was even able to put over Brock without any problem. You would think like there'll be at least some issue because of their past history, but no, it I wouldn't say it was a good match, but he did what he was supposed to do. And at the end of the day, that's what you look for in an athlete that can legit hurt somebody if he wanted to.
Yeah, I'm going to sell too. I think he'll return to the WWE. I think when, obviously, they're probably going to want to do a different game plan from AEW. They're going to want to have, I hate to say this, but bigger wrestlers, more believable wrestlers, because that's the kind of game plan we have. Drew McIntyre, we have Big E, we have Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, like physically bigger guys than an Adam Cole or a Darby Allin. So, and Cain Velasquez is believable. I think if they're going to go that route for their, the top star division, Cain Velasquez in the WWE is going to be a lock for sure. And I think he's just getting started in his professional wrestling career. So I'm excited to see what Cain Velasquez does. So last one. Go ahead.
Real quick, just don't be surprised if you see him pop up on NXT. That's all I'm saying.
NXT 2.0. Last one. So the great Bryan Danielson's been doing a lot more interviews now, which is a great thing about him no longer being part of WWE. Kind of the filters off, and he can kind of do whatever he wants. He was asked recently about who his dream opponent it would be, regardless of time and space and all that stuff. And he said one of his dream opponents would have been Lou Thesz. So, Albert, buyers, again, sell or no sell, Bryan Danielson versus Lou Thesz being a 5-star match.
It's a no sell to me.
No sell, okay.
It's a no sell.
You're just disrespecting the great Lou Thesz, bro.
Daniel Bryan is a tremendous talent. I think he can have a good match with anybody. You can put a box in there. You can put a box in there, and he'll have a good match. Now we're talking about a 5-star match.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega has spoiled me and gave me a 6-star match. So with that said, I find it hard that the work rate will be there for it to be a 5-star match. But then again, Daniel Bryan is a hell of a talent, and if anyone can do it, it's him. But I would say at the best, that match is a 4-star.
4.5. I'm giving it a 4.5 stars because maybe the style's not meshed. Or maybe Lou Thesz might sandbag Bryan Danielson on some things and say, "Hey, kid, I'm not gonna sell for you.
I'm not doing it."
All right, that's it for round number 1. Sell or no sell. We're gonna take a small break, come back and switch gears to some mixed martial arts. And I want to ask you: is Joanna Jedrzejczyk, former Joanna champion, is she being disrespected by Dana White in the UFC? So we'll talk about that next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 2. Timer started here. So former UFC women's strawweight champion. Yeah, strawweight. Joanna Jedrzejczyk has been out of action for a long time, since March of last year. Her name recently made the rounds because she was dropped from the rankings due to quote-unquote inactivity. And when asked what's going on, Dana White said basically negotiations are kind of falling through, that she wants to get paid every time she fights. She wants a title fight every time she fights. I'm kind of paraphrasing here. But that's what it is, and that's why they haven't found anything for her yet. To quote, Dana White said that Joanna ate a lot of cake when she was champion. She was a champ. She did very well, deservedly. She's a little savage, and I love that kid. She was telling us she only wants title fights. But you know what? That's not really how it works, end quote. So, Albert, I'm asking you, man, does Joanna J deserve more respect than this? Because let's check. Conor McGregor stays on the rankings for as long as he wants. And whenever Conor wants a title fight, he gets a title fight.
Okay, so
where's that same respect for Joanna? She's, if not more dominant than Conor McGregor ever was.
So before I even say any comments, Joanna, amazing champion, fabulous champion, one of the most dominant fighters I've ever seen. Big fan of her, love her. She has the drip game going on real good. But with all that said, at the end of the day, it's about the numbers. Conor has always brought the numbers. Joanna hasn't. And for that reason is the reason you have to rebuild the star that Joanna was. People forget this is the fight business. It's not the friend business. So as long as she provides those numbers, she can have 50 title shots. It don't matter. But the numbers aren't there. And sadly, it's been so long since we've seen Joanna fight that it's all. I mean, I see these fighters is just like stock. Like sometimes their stock is extremely high, and you gotta buy, and sometimes they're very low. You either gotta sell or rebuild it, repackage it, whatever you have to do. And I think Joanna's in that boat where you have to repackage her, but the only repackage her is to kind of increase that highlight reel. And the only way to increase the highlight reel is you gotta take fights that are not going to be championship fights. They're not going to be all top three opponents, but in the reality is you got to repackage her, and that's the honest truth. A repackaged Joanna is the best Joanna, I think.
I think that maybe not a title fight right away, but give her one or two in the division. Make her the main event, co-main event for a fight night, but just pay her. She wants the money. Or she wants a title fight. I think that both are coming hand in hand, but I just don't like it how – where's the consistency at, man? I know Conor McGregor does whatever he wants. Seems like Khabib does whatever he wants. Some fighters do whatever they want. I mean, Michael Chandler comes in and gets a title shot right away. So for somebody who as decorated as Joanna is, she deserves a little more respect, I think, than that. And I know she hasn't been on the top of her game the last two, but at least give her like a top-tier fighter. It seems like they do want her to kind of start down at the bottom and then go up, or maybe they see her more as a gatekeeping role now. Even though I don't think maybe they want to put her against a prospect and she's not. I don't want that. So I think that she deserves all the money
in that division. I get the money part, but it's the matchups aren't there for her in the top. I'm saying like there's no way you put her against Rose. There's no way you put her against the former champion. I don't want to butcher her name.
Yeah.
There's no way. She already defeated Carla Esparza. You know what I'm saying? There's not really a place for her in the top. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She has to work her way back up.
Yeah. Looking back at her last two wins were over Michelle Watterson in 2019, and before that it was against Tecia Torres back in 2018, and she suffered losses to Yang Wei and then Valentina Shevchenko, and then lost back-to-back to Rose Namajunas. So she's not losing the slouches. And she's also beating who she's supposed to be. We kind of know what Michelle Watterson is. We kind of know what Tecia Torres is. They're kind of that upper middle of the division. So she could beat on them, but maybe she is just kind of right. But I still think she's done enough. I mean, total, she's 16-4, had an unbelievable run as champion. Couldn't even be touched. Kind of like the only thing I can think of now is what Shevchenko is doing right now. Before Shevchenko, there was Joanna. And she is 34. That is old in fighter's age. But I don't know. I think I just don't like that. Let her have her cake and eat it too, bro.
I mean, she kind of already did, but I mean, she was. She was in the cover of all the Reebok sponsorship stuff. Remember, she was in all the press tours. She was in those big shows as well. So it wasn't like they didn't treat her like a champion when she was a champ.
She ate already. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. It's time to bake. It's time to bake another cake. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I like that. We're gonna end here with round number 2. We're sticking with mixed martial arts. We're gonna have our UFC 267 reactions, title changes, main event. But we're gonna play over under on the reactions here for UFC 267 coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 3. Let's talk about the big UFC pay-per-view that happened this past weekend. UFC 267 had 2 title fights, light heavyweight championship and the interim bantamweight champion, plus Islam Makhachev does what he does, and Mogomad Avalinov does what he does too. I don't want to butcher everybody's name, but we'll talk about the reaction. Jan Blachowicz loses his title to 42-year-old Glover Teixeira. What a long journey has been for him. He submits the champion in the second round. Is now the new light heavyweight champion. Peter Yan and defeats Corey Sandhagen in a hell of a fight. He is now the interim bantamweight champion. Sets up a rematch with Aljamain Sterling. Fate says, "Hey, you know what? You have to fight." And then the other big one was Islam Makhachev submits Dan Hooker in round 1. That dude looks unstoppable here. But Albert, before we play over or under, any kind of want to give your thoughts on the card as a whole, or some reaction to it, or just ready to rock and roll?
Let's go and rock and roll, because I kind of just want to focus on those 3 fights.
Yeah, it's what over and under. So, like I said, Glover Teixeira defeats Jan Blachowicz to become the new light heavyweight champion. Like we've been talking about for a while, the division's kind of thin here. There might be somebody new in Paulo Costa. We talked about it now, but over or under the number 3 for title defenses for Glover Teixeira.
Under.
What are you calling that? 2, 1? No, 0, 2 title, 1 title defense?
I'm saying 1 max.
1 max.
And that's depending who he faces.
Okay.
I honestly think that when Izzy fought Joanna, I'm gonna butcher his name too. Jan, I'm just calling him Jan. Yeah, when Izzy fought Jan, I think Izzy gave him too much respect, and I feel it wasn't Izzy's best night, and he was still able to go the distance with him. With that said, Glover, God bless his soul, man. I mean, like, I love a good story just like anybody else. I love the fact that he's in his 40s and he's a champion, that he came back from a losing streak, gone a winning streak, and won the title. But
definitely gives me inspiration.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't see the explosiveness there that I saw in other dominant champions. I think Paulo Costa is a bad matchup for him. I think Paulo Costa can beat him. I think Ponytail Man, I don't want to butcher his name. Dude, I'm just hard. They need to start getting. They all need to get nicknames. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
What's his name? While you look that up.
Let me look it up.
All right. I think that's a bad matchup. I think he beats Glover, and then at the same time, I feel you can even bring back Alexander Gustafsson, and he might be able to be the winner.
Come out of retirement.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence that 42-year-old Jan Blachowicz defeated 38-year-old. 42-year-old Glover Teixeira defeated 38-year-old Jan Blachowicz. We talked about this division being a little old here, so I do think that if it's you're thinking of Yuri Prochakov,
yeah, there is,
or his nickname is BJP. We'll go with that.
All right, BJP.
So BJP, I think he might be next in line, like you said. And the UFC might just say, hey, you know what, Izzy? We'll give it to you again. We'll give you Glover Teixeira to your quest to become a double champion. And
I think if Izzy destroys Robert Whittaker, I think he gets it and he beats Glover.
Yeah, I like it. So next one, over or under the number 1 for the times Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling's rematch will be postponed once again. So it's been postponed once. Now it's official. Now that Peter Yan is interim bantamweight champion, Aljamain Sterling's official bantamweight champion. Do you see this fight happening later this year, or will it be postponed once or maybe twice?
I'm gonna take
over or under.
I'm gonna take the over. I think we have another Tony Khabib situation here. I don't think
they're never gonna fight.
I don't think they're ever gonna fight. To tell you the truth, I think they're gonna get to a place where Sterling's gonna have to re-earn his title shot, and there's some animals coming up on that division, and who knows? I think he might be left behind here. Would I like to see a rematch? Of course. I don't think any fight fan wants to leave that matchup with a question mark, but I think it's gonna be another Tony Khabib, to tell you the truth.
I think so too. I think that, I don't know, maybe Aljamain's going to try to extend this as much as possible and say, hey, something might come up, or just try not to fight.
I mean,
to fight.
After that fight, don't you think Cody's still one more fight away from doing another rematch?
Cody Sandhagen?
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like Cody Sandhagen did enough in the beginning of the fight to say that it could have went his way until we got to the second half of the fight. I mean, there's an argument to be made that maybe with just the right adjustments, Cody can get it done.
Yeah, that dude's a tough man. He's a tough dude, man. Corey Sandhagen, I think he's just – it could be just a logjam right now. I think his time is still coming up. So I am going to go over on that one. I think it's going to be delayed a couple more times. Last one, over under. 2 more wins. Number 2, more wins for Islam Makhachev to get a title shot.
Under.
One more win. He's a title shot or what?
It doesn't matter who he faces next. He's getting a title shot with one more win. And they're going to try to bank like one of the Diaz brothers, of course, because that's just pay-per-view gold. But if they can get one of the Diaz brothers, I'm pretty sure they're probably trying to work in their Masvidal or the loser off of Usman, or heck, he can just have a fight night since the guy never gets hurt. Have a fight night, and if whoever comes out the champion in the next pay-per-view doesn't hurt themselves, he could be right there. So I'm going under.
I think they're giving 2 more fights.
Wow, 2 whole fights?
Yeah, because he was supposed to fight RDA. He fought Dan Hooker on short notice. So who knows if Dan Hooker had – I'm playing devil's advocate here if had a full camp. I mean, this is the biggest win of his career in terms of notoriety. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's beaten Drew Dober, Gleason Tebow, but none of them are really, Nick Lentz. None of them are really top 5 guys. I think they give him somebody that top 5, top 3, and then a title shot. So 2 more title fights.
Okay.
I think Kahib's going to say give him 2 more title fights. He's not ready yet. So I'm going over on that one. Or maybe even. I'll call even on that one. So, UFC 267, pretty good card fight. It was free, too. Last week we said it was paid, but it was free.
It was free. Maybe they heard us and they're like, dude, they said they're going to pay $70.
It was way too early. I think it started like at 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. So I was like, I'm not going to. Sorry. I got things to do at UFC. That's it for round number 3. We'll take a small break into the championship rounds. We're going to switch gears, talk about some WWE and what was the original plan for 205 Live and how it just died in the hands of Vince McMahon. So let's go up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 4. You remember Tony Nese, right? Great WWE cruiserweight Tony Nese.
Great body. I remember that.
Built like a Greek god. Works hard on it. Well, he is
at a 24-pack. Ripped to gills.
The dude, he was released by the WWE. Now he's in AEW, so that means he is free to say whatever he wants now. Most surprising thing to me, because he was a cruiserweight staple in the WWE 205 Live. That was, I don't know what day or channel it was on. It might be on the network. I don't know. But they asked him, or he kind of said in the interview that the original plan for 205 Live was going to be Triple H's baby. He's going to have a yearly cruiserweight tournament because remember 205 Live was born from the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yep.
Triple H wanted rankings and to count wins and losses. That was how it's going to be. And then all of a sudden, Vince McMahon said, "No, I'm taking charge of it, and it's going to be just what it is, just regular random matchups for no real storylines at all." I remember Cruiserweight Classic happened way before AEW was even a thought, and this whole ranking system and records kind of sounds like AEW was kind of, hey, getting ideas from Triple H here. So your kind of thoughts on what could have been for 205 Live, and do you see professional wrestling ever leaving that sports entertainment world as long as Vince McMahon's alive?
So when 205 first got announced, I got legit excited. I like the idea. I knew it was going to be trouble when they try to shoot the weight. If they were to have them go on scale and they really had to weigh in, I knew that would be a serious issue. But I kind of liked it, and I liked the whole concept of it. And I mean, if you go back to the tournament, they had some heavyweights on that. I mean, Ibushi was in there. You had
Zack Sabre
Jr. There is so much talent in that tournament, but the reason why there is so much talent in that tournament, because it was a tournament. There was really no commitment to be made to WWE. and there is no fear for, like, let's say New Japan or Ring of Honor or any other promotion to be like, dude, they're gonna poach our talent. It was like, if anything, it helped both companies out. So I loved the concept of it, and I think there is a niche for that in pro wrestling. I've always been a fan of making weight classes. The tough part is there's a lot of, how can I say? I feel like the old school mentality of faking your weight doesn't matter anymore. Like I don't think the average person hears someone say he's 180 pounds and then be like, oh, that fool's weak. Like, bro, have you seen UFC? Have you seen the 170 division? Those guys are monsters. Yeah. So I don't think they have to buffer their weight as much as like they did before. So I feel like there could be something you can do, maybe not as strict, because I don't want my talent weight cutting.
Yeah.
But there is something there.
Yeah. That's why I've always liked. It's now the WWE Championship. I don't think they ever call it the WWE Heavyweight Championship anymore.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, the Intercontinental Championship doesn't have any weight class. The United States Championship doesn't have a weight class. I mean, back in the day, it said heavyweight on there, but weight doesn't mean anything in professional wrestling anymore. I know that MLW has the open weight title. They have the middleweight title to kind of have that sort of like distinguish. Okay, this is the cruiserweight kind of style of wrestling. But even, AEW, it's the AEW Championship. It's the TNT Championship. What does that even mean? X Division, what does that mean? So the weights don't matter anymore, like you said, in professional wrestling. And it's almost a shame that the WWE is such a big company and they have their own network, but yet it all has to be the same type of wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Disney doing nothing but cartoons and not having Pixar, not having Marvel, not, back in the day, was it Disney owned Miramax to distribute like R-rated films almost, right?
Yeah.
And those all under one umbrella. Why can't WWE have that type of hardcore wrestling under their umbrella? Yeah, it's under the WWE umbrella, but it doesn't have to be under the thumb of Vince McMahon. It doesn't all have to be the same. And you can say 205 Live was never going to be marketed towards that 8 to 18-year-old audience. It's going to be marketed to the 18 to 35-year-old hardcore wrestling fans. And it's another stream of revenue for the company. But unfortunately, it's Vince's company. He has every right to say what he wants it. He wants it this way. And it's basically his world, and we're all living in it.
Yeah. I do believe if it was a one-off, it would have been super successful. Or if every 3 months the title has to be defended in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think it'll be success. I'm we've said it before. Huge fan of tournaments. I would honestly, no matter what I have, I'll make a tournament.
Yeah. No, exactly. And it sucks that you kind of see that these are the ideas that Triple H had. Well, we saw what NXT was when he had it. So, I mean, it's a shame. So, it is what it is. That's it for round number 4. We got one more round. We're going to preview the big-time UFC pay-per-view this weekend, UFC 268, Usman versus Covington 2, coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. 5th and final round, UFC 268, Usman versus Covington. Takes place this Saturday, November 6th, live on pay-per-view in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in Albert. Man, they stacked this card to the gills. Main event, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. Co-main event, Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Wei. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. That Rose Namajunas is for the women's strawweight title. Usman and Covington's for the welterweight title. Grudge match between Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. You got Frank Yeager versus Marlon Barrera too. Shane Burroughs versus Billy Quintanillo. That's just the main card, and the prelims are stacked as well. I got Al Iaquinta versus Bobby Green. You got a ton of guys on there and women just fighting. But this main card, Albert, Usman versus Covington. Woo. You're a bigger Covington fan than I am.
Yep.
I know he's all gimmick, and he's living the gimmick, so you do what you got to do. It's worked for him so far. He's kind of laid off on the MAGA thing for a little bit, but he's kind of still saying what he wants to say, and it's working, so it's got him to this position now. I think Usman's the baddest dude on the planet. I don't see anybody beating him anytime soon. Your thoughts on this main event really quick?
Well, if you go back to the first fight, it's very clear. It's very clear that Usman had a little help from the ref. There's clearly a kick that lands clean in the body. Usman acts like he got low blow. He gets some time. It was a clean kick. The other one was he got rocked and then blamed eye poke, and the ref gave him time, and there was clearly no eye poke. He just got rocked. So he had some help in the first fight. I think Usman has taken leaps since that fight, but at the same time, for some reason, I feel like Colby Covington has that ace in his back pocket. He's the type of fighter where you don't really expect him to be a good stand-up guy. You don't expect him to be a good submission guy. But don't get it wrong. He is extremely good in his stand-up. And we haven't seen him in a while. And I think people are going to forget how good he really is. And if there's anyone that can beat Usman now, I do think it's Covington.
Covington, obviously, it's what he's done in the octagon and his gimmick that's got him there. He last defeated Tyron Woodley, 5th round, KO, TKO. Before that, he lost to Usman in the 5th round. He went 5 rounds with Usman, basically. It was like a minute left, and Usman finished it. Before that, 5-round decision. Even
that was a little controversial.
Yeah. Before that, Covington beat Robbie Lawler, 5-round decision. Before that, he beat Rafael dos Anjos, 5-round decision. Before that, he beat Damian Maia, a 5-round decision. So he's beaten guys, but not to the extent of how Usman could dismantle somebody. So I think Usman's just on another level right now, and Covington is a worthy champion. I don't know if he'll come off with the win, but it's kind of hard to pick Usman the rate he's going at right now. The only thing I can think of is Usman is already talking about this garbage with Canelo Alvarez.
Don't do it.
Maybe he's looking past Covington. I don't know.
If he's measuring his boxing skills because of what he did to Mazadov, he's sadly mistaken.
Co-main event, Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili. Immediate rematch, I think, well-deserved.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, I mean, Zhang is, you don't beat Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade. And I think it's more like who else is going to fight. Rose as well.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's more about the options. I do think Rose clearly showed she was the better fighter that night and was head and shoulders above her that night.
Yeah, I haven't been following Rose's kind of pre-fight media. Hoping she's talking more about this whole red state thing nonsense.
I will say this: the former champion. It looks like she had a little bit of training with Henry Cejudo. So I'm excited to see if any of that comes out in the fight.
Yeah, grudge match. Probably the fight I'm looking for the most: Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler.
It got personal from nowhere.
Yeah, just basically it got personal because Justin Gaethje made it personal. He's already calling for a title shot after he beats Michael Chandler, which I think it makes sense because Chandler just fought for the title, so might as well get him a title shot, right?
Makes sense, but ain't gonna happen. I feel like my boy Michael Chandler is not only is he gonna piece him up, I think he's gonna take him to wrestling school. To tell you the truth, Chandler is known to get rocked, which Gaethje has more than enough power to do so. Yeah. I just feel like Gaethje, for once, is going in a little bit too confident, I think. Gaethje usually just goes in there and does his thing. But the way I'm hearing, the way it sounds like he's going just a tad too confident. And I think that's going to bite him in the butt.
Okay. Well, we'll see. That's the fight I'm looking forward to the most this Saturday. UFC 268, November 6th, live on pay-per-view, Madison Square Garden. Big time. 2 back-to-back weekends, UFC pay-per-views. The UFC's back. I like it. Albert, we're almost done here. I lost my train of thought. All right, we're out of here for this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Whether you're watching us on YouTube, please turn on notifications, subscribe, leave a comment, like our videos, give it a thumbs up. If you're listening to us in audio format, we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podomatic, Amazon as a podcast thing. Wherever you get your audio podcasts, we are there. Leave us a comment, review on all your platforms. Listen to, please. It's greatly appreciated. Follow us on social media. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. All handles at 5 Round MMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. And visit 5roundmma.com. A big thank you to Foxhound Fuel. Go to foxhoundfuel.com. Enter promo code 5MMA for 25% off your order. Go to wildbar.co. Enter promo code 5roundmma15 for 15% off your order. A big thank you to both of them for sponsoring this week's show. Albert, what do you got?
Just keep bringing those comments on TikTok. I like it, bro. Gives me hyped up. And thanks everybody for listening.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.